AG1 is one of the biggest wellness companies in the entire world, making hundreds of millions of dollars, and yet they have the most terrible email marketing. So I'm going to go in as a non-designer and design the best and highest converting emails and revamp their existing design. So let me jump into it. All right, so I have taken an example of their welcome email, which I don't think is very good at all. And I'm going to run over why I don't think it's good and then redesign it alongside you. So first things first, I have saved a few of the elements, and on my other screen over here, I have saved some of the images as well. So that's a little bit easier to go through this process. I always like to save my elements prior to design, so I do recommend that for you as well. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to start from scratch. So first things first, I'm just going to move this over here. And we're going to start with the rectangle, which is just by pressing R on my keyboard. I'm going to drag it all the way down, kind of keep it the same length, and probably extend it. And then I just want to make sure that the dimensions are 700. Perfect. From there, I'm just going to make it a white background, and I'm going to rename it to our main frame. Perfect. And so the reason why I do this is just to keep track of everything, and I'm going to click on this and frame the selection. This is essentially untouchable. Now I'm going to do another rectangle over just to iron out and map out my hero section. So from there, what I'm going to do is I have saved their logo and everything on the other screen. So what I'm going to do is follow the design principles that I know best. I'm going to put that over there. The logo usually should take up minimal space, whereas they have like a whole section of the email to their logo, and then even what is AG1. It's kind of a waste of the space. So the hero visual that I have chosen is something like this. I'm just going to put it here for now, and I just took that from their website. Then comes the headline that I create pressing T. I'm just going to change the size to maybe 26, and I'm going to keep the font as is. So to foundational nutrition. Perfect. Now what I want to do is I do just want to change this a bit to be like that. Cool. We're going to change it up to be actually 60 big. Perfect. So we're going to save it as is, just keep it like that. And then we want a subtext section. So I'm just editing this. Complicated. Perfect. So obviously that is way too big for a subtext section. So we're going to minimize this. And that looks pretty decent to me. Move this slightly up. Right, and now we want everything to flow. The issue with their email is that it does not flow, and there's no call to action in the top fold, which is a huge issue. And by the way, just good practice in renaming everything so you know exactly what is what, and you can move it to where it needs to be. Be subtext. Perfect. So now we want a button, and this needs to be high up in the email so it is high converting. And we're just going to create something like this. I'm going to move it to the center, and we're going to recolor this, and we're going to recolor it to their branding colors, which are already kind of pre-saved. So that's perfect. And now what I'm going to do is I want to add some text. Okay. It's going to copy paste this, and here we're going to say get your welcome kit. Cool. We're going to make this slightly smaller, maybe 24 will fit. Put this over here, and I'm going to change it to white. So actually, we want to make sure that this is above, and that's also the importance of making it higher up. Cool. So, button. Right, now I'm just going to group these, so for future it's a little bit easier, but actually I do not like this font in here, so let's choose, that's a little bit better. And the button I actually want to be a little bit rounded, so let's do a 20. Perfect. And what we're going to do is we're going to select these two, we're going to right click, and we're just going to group them. This way I can just copy paste the whole group, so this is button group. Perfect. And now the issue is that this is just a hard stop. And with emails, the highest converting emails are always a continuous design. So it flows the user through the journey of reading the whole thing. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to take the color from the top here and continue it on. Cool. So now when you zoom out, you can't really see that there is that line or that difference. So that to me is pretty decent. So we're just going to move it slightly up. We're going to do that. Now, the rest of the email, of course, is going to be a little bit trickier because it is going to be, I want it to be a green. So if we just do that, we're going to make it the same green that we have for the brand colors, which is this. Right, so now, in my opinion, I don't like this right now because, yes, the top of the visual is really good, but we want this to be a continuous design. And so the issue here is that it just starkly stops. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a gradient. So I add another rectangle. And I'm just going to drag it here. And this is going to take a little bit of editing, but to create a gradient, I just go over here. I'm going to flip it so that it goes from down to up. I'm going to make it that. And we're going to make this transparent. So something like this, but still the color that we want. So let's do that and then redo the transparency. Perfect. And height, let's just make it 160. And now we can kind of drag, and that looks a lot better. It's way less dark, even though it's subtle. I quite like that it kind of blends into the main image. So I'm happy with that. Super easy gradient to create. Now what I like to do as a shortcut is just copy paste the headlines that I've already pre-designed. I'm going to move this up here and we're going to change this to white so it's a little bit more visible. And the headline here is unboxing AG1. Perfect. So again, similar to what they kind of have here, just making it a little bit higher action. There's all this text with no call to action until this point. And this is way too much to consume. So we kind of want to turn this into an infographic. So first, let me add a little bit of context to this section so that it makes a little bit more sense. Let's move this up here. And then let's move forward to in your welcome kit. Perfect. We're going to change that and we're going to make it white. Let's do this. Perfect. So this to me already looks miles better. So we're going to save it that way. Now I want to create kind of this infographic section that is super simple. And the way that I'm doing it is I am just going to create these little boxes and adjust as I go. So I like something that is a bit more dynamic and not so structured. So let's go and drag that. And one more. Perfect. Perfectly aligned. And then the last one. Now for all of these, I'm just gonna go and add a bit of a corner radius. So let's do 20. And let's do that for all of them. Perfect. Okay, cool. So I'm happy with that. I do want to, however, change this to white. Again, it probably would have been easier to finalize this in the first one and then copy paste it, but it's okay. And we're going to change this to white. Cool. Now, the whole point is I want to turn this into digestible information. So what I've done is on the side here, I've just saved some images and I am going to put that in there. Perfect. And here, I'm just going to copy paste some of this so it is a little bit easier. So we're going to copy paste the text that I have saved from before instead of typing it out for you. Cool. And here I'm just going to go and add some extra text. Perfect. All right. So we're actually going to extend this slightly. And that looks a lot better. Perfect. Okay, cool. So I am happy with that. Now, next up is going to be on the right. Again, just making it a little bit more dynamic. And let's move it like that. And we're going to copy paste this now. So let's take this and put it nearer here. Great. And then obviously I've done the formatting for this already. Where I want it aligned on the right side. Let's extend it slightly. Perfect. Now this I am not too happy with, so let me group everything. And I'm going to group it. And we're going to move it over slightly. Okay, cool. And I can see that this just needs a little bit of an adjustment. Perfect. So basically I'm going to continue building this out. Now, obviously I've got the sections already kind of built out. So I'm just going to copy paste them instead of showing you exactly what I'm doing. But it's essentially going to be something like this. And obviously you will adjust the sections as you need. Just a little bit skinnier over here. Move that down. Cool, so this is a little bit more of a dynamic section. Now you know exactly what you're getting in your kit. It's obviously a welcome to the brand. Everything is a little bit smoother. And if I really wanted to be pedantic, I arguably would just move this slightly higher up. And then I would move these groups up as well. So with that being said, I won't go ahead and do that right now. But what I do want to do is I want to take this button and I want to copy paste it here, add another call to action, because again, after every main section, you do want to add some kind of call to action to round everything up and give them an action point. Because what a lot of brands do incorrectly is they don't give the user or the customer somewhere to go after they've explained things. And that is the worst thing that you can possibly do. So number one, obviously just in the first fold, making sure there's a call to action, then turning information into digestible information with a little bit of infographics. And here, what we want to do is we want to extend this slightly. And what I'm going to do is I am going to add a different section. So adding this headline, build a better day, which I like a lot more than, all of their subject lines. And here, I am going to add another image that I saved. So let's do this. Now, what I want to do is I am going to make sure that this is a little bit more of a dynamic section, right? So the way that I'm going to do this is I am going to drag this here. And I'm going to keep it the same color. And what I want to do is I want to make really dramatic corners. So let's extend this. Right, perfect. So now it's got like these dramatic corners, but also adding in a little bit of layering into the email. And here is where we'll add a little bit of additional information over here. So if someone really is text heavy and they want more information, they can find it, but we don't want to neglect the rest of the audience. And so we want to make sure that we're getting everything that we need out the way that is important first. And then we're going to end it off a little bit that way. So it's that simple. In about 10 minutes of editing an email, you can see the difference. It's well branded. It shows the branding. It has a little bit more culture to it, a little bit more depth. It's way easier to digest. Reading this, I feel like my attention span's absolutely not going to cope. Having preparation details and everything is all good and well, but showing exactly what they're getting is a little bit more appealing. And then once they place the order, showing them exactly what is needed, or showing a dosage guide or some kind of, unpacking afterwards is going to make a world of a difference. So obviously you can just fix some things up as you go along, but overall this looks like a way better email and it is going to be way better performing. Now, if you're an e-com brand and you're looking for an agency that will take all of this off of your plate, elevate your designs and build incredible emails for you, then book a call below and we'll absolutely jump on, see how we can help you and take it from there. But for now, enjoy the rest of your day and I'll see you in the next one.